Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster. Before we jump into this Pistons Weekly show, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube and follow us on all the aggregators for your audio fix. Those are platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us. All you have to do is go to the search bar, type in Post Game Podcast FFSN. You'll see the piston colored logo. Make sure you're following us and make sure that notification bell is on. So when we drop content, you'll get an alert and download those episodes. And something that's going on with the YouTube, man. I know my people's out there watching them profile those profile forms, the featured player profiles, and we're not getting any views. Like, some of those views, like Foster brought up to me, like some of those views got thousands and hundreds of views, and to do one and only get like 2 or 3 views, something is not right unless y'all done fell back on us. But let us know if there's an issue with those, and we'll try to do better, but I don't think there's an issue. Something is wrong. I think we've been shadow banned, Foster.
Hey, you remember our very first video, CJ Gardner-Johnson, when he first came back? That one has nearly 1,000 views, and we got them all within like a day. It was weird.
So we do a player profile now, and it's 3 views, 4 views. So I don't know. Maybe I got to switch some stuff up with the hashtags, and I've been doing the same thing though. It's crazy. Anyway, Foster, how you doing this morning, man?
Anywho, the Pistons have left me with my head scratching my head, but I don't know. We just have to find some consistency because I don't know.
Last night's game was a head scratcher. Last night,
and mind you, I was out and about, so I caught the tail end of the game, so I didn't get a chance to watch it in its entirety. But I tell you what, we've become a team that's hard to predict because you lose one to the Wizards, okay, fine, whatever. We barely beat Miami, and that's another team that is
struggling.
Well, they were struggling, but I guess they are they're a very well coached team, and which is the same to be said about Jason Kidd in Dallas. But yeah, they're a team that was struggling. But I'm not gonna harp too tough on the Miami game. We won that game. It was on national television. We got some media buzz off that. But I would have put some pretty decent money on the Dallas game.
I'm starting to notice a trend, and this is even in the wins. I'm just starting to notice a trend that the Pistons allow at least one player to go crazy every time they play them.
No matter who it is, even if it's PJ Washington.
Bam had a crazy game versus the Pistons.
He snapped.
SGA been going crazy, so I'm not even going to count that, but he's one that went really Super Saiyan. Harden went Super Saiyan a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago.
50, right? Didn't he have 50?
He had 50 ball. Last night, you had PJ Washington going crazy. You had what's the little guard? The guard was just going to the rack, throwing
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie went crazy last night. He had 30-something. And then Clay had 20. So you allow PJ Washington Jr. or whatever his name is, he had 27. Dinwiddie had 30-something. And you had Klay Thompson had 20. Now, I don't know if I haven't been paying much attention, but I haven't heard Clay's name mentioned anytime in anything. Now,
he made a statement that he said that he was going to kind of.
He said that a few weeks ago, and they've lost every game since he said that.
Was it just a couple weeks ago? I thought it was
Yeah,
recently.
Foster. They was 1 of 10 going into last night's game, or at least 1 of 9. 1 of their last 10. Yes.
Wow.
So they
Well,
had been since he said that, because I paid attention to that. He said, "You're going to see somebody, you know, the definition of picking up a team or something to that effect. Like he was going to put the team on his back, and they've
yeah.
lost just about every game since he said that. But last night versus the Pistons, he has 20. He has 20, and he would have had a lot more because he missed a few threes. You know what I'm saying? That was either just barely missing. Like bobbling in or a little, just they were on line to go in. Just pushed it to. I don't want to say it's kind of pause worthy, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying not to go there, but they just didn't. They just fell. They just didn't fall, and he still had 20, and it's crazy, and it's just crazy, and Cade's still not getting the calls that he's supposed to get. They'll foul Cade and they won't call anything, and then on the other end, touch foul, and it happened a few times. There was a sequence where I was so pissed off at Holland. And I kept thinking he's showing off because he's there at home.
At
He's
home.
trying to do
Yeah.
too much. There was a sequence where he had 3 straight trips, 2 turnovers, and a missed 3. You're not a 3-point shooter. Didn't you turn the ball over twice before that? Those 3 empty possessions.
And see, that's why you got to watch the game. You watched it in its entirety, because I looked at it because I think he had a pretty good game the game before too. But I looked at it and said 12 points, and I said, okay,
yeah, and there was some highlights, but it was a crucial point in the game where 3 possessions, and one was a fast break where he just fumbled the ball and then went off his leg.
Okay, and I'm looking. Yeah, he had 4 turnovers because I'm looking at it.
The Pistons turned the ball over a lot last night.
Yeah, we had 6 because I was looking at the box score to see, what made all the difference in the game.
Turnovers.
Yeah. So as far as Ron Holland's box score, he had 12 points in 12 minutes. So I'm like, 5 of 9. Okay. Hit a 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But and he had 5 rebounds, but 4 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
4 turnovers in the game. So in 12 minutes, which is that's a bad ratio.
That's a bad drawing, man. You turn the ball over in 3 minutes, bro. Sit your ass now.
Which probably indicates why he's the only player off the bench that had a negative plus minus. The rest of the bench had a positive. Dennis Schroeder, Beasley, Fontecchio, Isaiah Stewart, they all had a positive plus minus, but it's pretty obvious those turnovers hurt the team when he was on the court, because Ron Holland was a -5 plus minus.
And now let me ask you this: how many total turnovers was for the game for the Pistons?
I can tell you that we had, I think it was 20 to 14, because we had 6. Dallas had 6 less. So however you want to slice it, but I believe it was 20 to 14.
20 turnovers. And then let me also add, I know Pistons shot 11-31 for 3. Also going to say pace is everything.
Right.
And the Pistons were trying to run in the first few minutes of the game, and they were missing. And I looked up and the score was 2-7, and they played from behind ever since. The whole game they played from behind. They never had the lead at all. I think
briefly, I guess, because our largest lead was 3, which is nothing. That could have been 3-0 for all I know. But
I think what happened was it was 3-0. It was 3-0.
It was literally 3-0.
It was literally 3-0 because Tobias Harris started off the game and he hit a 3.
Oh,
and then
that was our lead.
And next thing you know, it was 7-3. They were running up and down the court. They were doing whatever. And at the end of the first quarter, I know they had cleaved up damn near a 40 ball for the first quarter. It was something like that. It was in the 30s for sure. But it was, and I was like, they gotta play some defense. They have to make some stops, and they just weren't getting the stops that they needed. For you to have Oscar Thompson is a phenomenal defender. And I feel like he should be on, unless he's a center or power forward, he should be guarding the most dangerous scorer.
So, in your opinion, in this game, who was that?
That's the thing. It shouldn't have been one.
Well, this is the NBA. All these guys are capable.
It was like last night. It was like that's one of those assignments where it's like, okay, everybody should be able to defend it. There's no superhero on offense on this team right now.
Yeah.
So I figure, but when Dinwiddie's going to the rack and throwing up teardrops off the glass over Duran several times.
I feel like and I've seen this, I feel like his timing, it's got to be his timing. Or I think his feet are so slow that he just can't get to the spot in enough time to make the block, because if your athleticism, you can jump through the gym, and your timing can't be that far off. Like how is it that people go to the rack with no fear? I want to say Duran is still averaging under a block a game.
Yeah, it's crazy because he gets a lot. There's a lot of shots by guards in the paint over him in a game, and it happens several times again. This doesn't happen versus a lot of the shot blockers of the NBA. With that being said, Duran's just not a shot blocker. He's just not. When he gets a block shot, me and you are in awe. But he had 2 blocks.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be like that. That should be.
He is averaging for his career. He's under a block a game, 0.9. But this year he is averaging 1.2 blocks. But you know what though? Blocks per game don't really tell a story. You can get lucky and get a cheap block once a game, but what is your true impact on the game?
We're watching him. Shot blocker changes people's minds before they even shoot. They're throwing up stuff because they're in fear of the shot blocker. You don't have to necessarily get the shot blocked, but there's an intimidation thing and a second thought thing that goes into somebody's mind. Oh, that's Embiid in there. I got to, what I'm saying? He's there. That has to be in your mind. And I don't think that's in nobody's mind playing the Pistons. It's like, just go shoot. See what happens. They're not worried about him they're not intimidated by him. Now, when Stewart's there, that's a different story. He's changing shots, like just his presence. Troy says, "What's up, guys? I can't believe we lost to the Mavs. I cannot either." Foster said last week, we better not lose to the Mavs, not when they ain't got nobody playing. And guess what happens? We lose to the Mavs.
Yeah, they got me confused, scratching my head for sure. I don't know really what to make of it, but yeah. just kind of proves that we're not. I'll tell you what, we picked a bad time to start losing to some winnable games, because the Cavs are losing like crazy.
And we got a stretch coming up where we need to make sure we're winning the games we're supposed to win. After these next 3 or 4 games, there's a last season stretch of about 8 or 9 games where those are tough games.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, I mean, I can sit up here and say, okay, like Troy says, we're playing great though. I get that, right? And we usually say that when we play a team like OKC, Golden State, Boston, Cleveland. We lose a game and we're playing great. I get that. But a team that's 11 games under 500. No, you can't play great and lose to teams like that. That's not playing great.
Well, we're still 6 games up on what is this? 5? Yeah, we're 5 games up on Atlanta. So I'm not sweating that part of it. We are solidified in at least a
Oh,
6,
yeah. We
or
clinched the
no.
play the other
Well,
day.
we clinched the plan, but I'm saying as far as realistically, we don't have to worry about falling out of out of the 6th slot, which is huge. We don't want to have to play to get in. We don't want to have to deal with that. But right now, I mean,
It looks like the Knicks are in trouble
I
falling
was
out of
good.
the
That's what I was trying. Yeah, so that's what the Knicks are struggling right now. I think they lost to the Hornets and they
Yeah.
lost to the Kings. And the Kings didn't have, I want to say the Kings didn't have Levine or Sabonis in that game. No, some no, the Cavs lost to the Kings without Sabonis or Levine. But yeah, honestly, we are in a position to where if we were able to beat teams like Dallas, who I would like to say we should beat, and teams like the Wizards, because we can't bank on beating the best team in the NBA. Okay, see, it is what it is. But yeah, right now Indiana's won 3 in a row. Milwaukee lost to somebody, but they beat the Lakers yesterday, 2 days ago. So the Pacers in Milwaukee are starting to get on a better groove.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what Cleveland's doing because we're not going to catch them. But yeah, New York, we can still catch New York. Unfortunately, we don't have any head-to-head games against them left. We kind of got those out of the way, but I think we have the don't we have the tiebreaker on them, or don't we have the better record head-to-head?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, we are only we're 5 games behind them. Yeah, we're 5 games behind them but we have 39 wins and they have 43. So yeah, there's still a lot to be played for. We have a stretch. We should definitely talk about that stretch coming up. But yeah, my biggest thing is, see, the only glaring stats that I saw from last night, because I would have bet that maybe they scored more points in the paint, but that wasn't the case. We scored a ton of points in the paint. We missed some key free throws down the stretch. Cade missed a technical free throw?
Yeah. He missed
He's
2 free throws during that stretch.
And then Schroeder split a free throw down the stretch. So, those individual points change a lot when you only lose by a couple points. We talked about
I'm glad you brought that up because I had a point, but go ahead.
Yeah. So we talked about turnovers. The Dallas had 6 less turnovers than us, because we shot, as far as our 3-point percentage, we were pretty even there. They shot a little bit better from the field, but it just came down to missed possessions at the end of the day. Yeah, I think we shot a decent percentage. We just had less possessions because of those turnovers. And lastly, they had double the free throws that we had.
Yeah.
Or double the attempts, or
for sure. They went to the free throw line a lot in comparison. Foster, let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
And I have something I want to ask you on the other side. So if you're listening, you're going to hear some wonderful ads. If you're watching, we'll be back in 10, 15 seconds. Yo, Foster, you have the stat sheet pulled up, right?
I do.
What was Dennis Schroeder's 3-point shots made and attempts looking like?
Schroeder had 2 for 4.
Okay. I can't go crazy on him because he missed a he missed a couple of threes, and I did not notice until he got to the Pistons how slow
The release.
the release is.
It's weird. It's
I said, man, I
he
ain't
kind
never.
of turned to the side when he shoots it.
Yeah, I said I never noticed because whenever we played Schroeder or whenever Schroeder played on a team that I wanted to win, he was money when he was open.
Yeah.
And he went
Yeah.
2 for 4, so I can't go crazy on him missing threes. That's 50%. I'll take 2 for 4 shooting every night. But that release looks very uncomfortable. But if that's what he does, I didn't notice it until he became a Piston.
Yeah, he's really not a three-point shooter at all.
Mid-range, and he
Yeah.
can take it off the dribble. That's what he does very well. He gets to the rack, and he kind of, he gets and ones a lot.
Yeah, he's very crafty. I mean, for who he is, I don't have any complaints about anything that he's done this year, honestly. Especially, he had four turnovers last night.
I mean, the whole team turned over, and we
But
lost
that
Hardaway.
hasn't been his MO though. He's taking care of the ball very well. But yeah.
There was a fast break that really pissed me off, Foster. You didn't see the game. So Malik Beasley has the ball. He's racing up the court, and Cade is slightly behind him. Instead of having his head up and running down the court, about at the midcourt, Cade is slightly behind him. So he throws the pass to Cade. There's a defender in between them. So the guy, and I thought it was a foul, but he gets the ball. He winds up hitting Cade. They didn't call anything. 2 points the other way. Now, later on in the game, this scenario happened again, where Malik had the ball, Cade was slightly behind him, and he threw the ball to Cade. And it's like the dude almost stole it again.
You said, You said this was Beasley again.
This was Beasley, same scenario, except for Cade got the ball this time. And I'm like,
all right,
if you have your head up, you're on a break, you don't look behind you. Either you slow it up or you get to the free throw line and make a decision. You're going to shoot or pass. One of the two. You don't wait for nobody, and you don't wait for your point guard to catch up with you, especially the first time when the dude took the ball. That was a 4-point swing where, everything changes, momentum and everything. And I think they were clawing back into it, and that happened. I'm like, a turnover on a fast break is insane to get to the other way. Like, come on, guys. And I know Bernie was pissed. Bernie was going off. I mean, not Bernie. JB was going off.
Yeah.
They was calling him ridiculous stuff. And it's just like, these are games that you're supposed to win. You have to win these games. You got to close out the season. Got to close it out strong. I don't know, man. This is last night. And you know what? And the crazy thing is, we're dwelling on this loss when we have a couple of games during the week to go over, because this is Pistons Weekly, not Pistons Last Night. We can't forget what K did in Miami, because we haven't talked about that. They showed a flashback, Foster, last year versus Miami, and it might have been the second game of the year. First or second game of the year. Pistons played in Miami. And Cade had the ball with seconds left. And he threw up a three. It didn't go. It's one of those close games, first 3 games of the year, where, it's like we could have won that game. And Miami was kind of good that year, last year. They did decent. But it was a game early, and they showed that, and I was like, wow, I remember this.
Yeah, that was like the second game of the year? Or?
Second game, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so then they showed what happened the other night, and I'm like, yeah, this is redemption. This is redemption. Cade hit a 3-point. He first of all, the way he fought to get to the ball was insane. Right? It was an inbounds pass, and Cade fought to get to the ball, got the ball. He knew he was shooting. He had the taller shot blocker, Bam over him. And I'm going to say, you do not have to call glass when you shoot over somebody taller than you like that. Because you had to argue, right? You don't get that shot off trying to get on net.
And it wasn't your best shot. It was like, okay, the clock is down, so I don't have time to really. I'm sure you would have tried to break him down a little bit more, but it was kind of obviously a desperation shot. So
when he shot it, I said, "No, you could have got a closer shot." It was like, good shit. Yeah. And then you know what's crazy is that they didn't call timeout. Cade was celebrating so bad.
There was 0.6 seconds, so I don't know if it ran off or what happened.
They threw the ball in, and I think it was Hardaway. The dude tried to throw up a shot, and Hardaway blocked it.
He blocked it?
He blocked it.
Oh, damn.
He blocked it. And he didn't come close to the shooter. He blocked it from the side. So when the ball was in flight, he jumped up and hit it. So it was a clean block. And it was like Cade didn't even turn around to see what was going on. He was celebrating.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, turn around. But yeah, it was the Pistons trailed most of that game.
Yeah, another one of those games.
Another one of those games where we played from behind, and I thought this was going to be last night was the same type of game where you just trail from behind and you won it in the closing seconds. But Pistons played very well. Bam Adebayo had like one of the greatest games I ever seen him play. Because I don't watch much Miami Heat basketball, but they put up a stat where he had his last 4 games, he had 11 points. He had 20 in the first half. And I was like, this guy is playing. And you said he's playing with a purpose. I said he's playing out of his mind. That's like, it's always against us. They have their best games versus the Pistons. Some of these people. And Bam was balling. I think he had 30 at the end of the third. I think he wound up with 30 or something. It wasn't a lot, but after the third, he didn't score that much. I could be wrong, but I know he had 30 after the third for sure. And they just look good. Tyler Hero, man.
I think that he falls into the category of Piston killer because I've seen him cut up on us,
bro. The way he handles, and he can get just about any shot he wants off the dribble.
And he's a tough shot. He's a tough shot maker. Like he doesn't always take it's not the easy shots. It's the ones where he's fading away in the corner that he makes.
And if it's a 3 and he's open, he's knocking it down.
Yeah, that's automatic.
That's automatic. This guy is amazing. This guy, I mean, I'm telling you, with a little bit of help on that Miami team, you got your future star there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the way he can get his own shot. He just, and with the way Bam was playing, it was just Miami looked good versus us.
They just need a point guard. Honestly, they tried to, Terry Rozier hasn't been good. They let Vincent get away. I always forget his first name. I always want to call him Troy, but Troy Vincent. Gabe Vincent. I can never remember Gabe. Who else do they have? Yeah, they let Gabe Vincent go.
I think Gabe go.
I think Hero is their point guard technically.
And he was going crazy. How many points did he have?
I don't know.
Okay, I thought you had your stat sheet up. I'm sorry.
I don't think he had a great game. He's definitely had better games.
Yeah, he's had better games, but he hit some shots when they needed him.
What day was that? The 20?
That was Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
That was Wednesday because it was before March Madness.
But yeah, Andrew Wiggins didn't even play.
Do we have a game before that game though this week before Miami?
The game before that was OKC.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to
uh,
talk about that. Hey
Bucks.
man, SGA is just
He's the best player in the NBA. It's just that
man.
simple.
If you notice in the first half, he was missing shots like crazy. There was a stretch where he missed about 4 or 5 shots. I don't think he missed a shot in the second half.
Oh, pardon me. Hero had 29. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was going, bro. I'm telling you, bro. It was him and Bam. It was a 2-man show.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Khalil Ware, those 7-footers. That's
Khalil Ware was. We did a profile.
yeah.
Foster did a feature player profile, and on that feature player profile, I said, "This is a guy I would love to see as a Piston, as our 4."
There wasn't any like glaring weaknesses. I mean, I think he took a couple threes, a couple of errant threes in the game versus us.
Yeah,
but he's capable.
he's capable, but he was an offensive rebounding machine. He was a shot blocker.
Yeah.
He just imagine him as your 4 here. That would be kind of crazy. Even if he's coming off the bench, that would be kind of crazy. That
would be great off the bench as a predecessor to Tobias, down the line. He's had some like 30-point games, I want to say, or
that's your shot blocker. You put him alongside Duran, you know what I'm saying? You gain a shot blocker, but Tobias has been blocking some shots lately too.
Man, Tobias has not only been blocking some shots. I think he had like 5 steals. He's just a good instinctive because it's not. I mean, he's like 6'7" or something like that. I mean, Now offensively, he had a pretty bad game though. 9 points. He's kind of falling back into.
Okay, let's go because I had something I wanted to talk about, Foster.
Yeah,
I brought this up, and I wasn't saying that Tobias is our Robin. I'm saying he could be, but he would have to increase his scoring average. Now, this is something last night was an indicator of why he's not our Robin. He has these games where he 9 points, 7 points, and he'll have that game, but the shots are there for him to take. He's just not making them. You know what I'm saying? And he's a threat. He's a scoring threat. When he gets the ball in the post, he demands they double team him. He can get his shots. He just has to be more consistent of making those shots. When Tobias Harris has double figures and is hitting his shot, the Pistons are a different team. They're different.
Yeah, I would put him in a category as an option, but I don't think he's a guy that you want to lean on. I think
no. I'm saying what he could be, but I don't think he can be. No, I don't think he's going to be.
At this stage of the game, he is who he is. I think that this was an indicator that, or just even over the last couple of games, is that he's being. I don't know if he's being asked to be more of a defensive presence, which also isn't really his game per se, but just the simple fact that he had 5 steals in the last game and he had 5 blocks in the game before that. But you're also seeing that his offense has tapered down. Like, just kind of goes to show that maybe that's a glaring area that we need to improve in, because yes, we have Asar Thompson, but once you get past Asar Thompson, what other good defenders do we have on that first unit? I mean, Cade maybe, but you're asking a lot for Cade offensively. So
I wouldn't substitute that.
Because we know going into the year, you said, I don't like Tobias Harris at the 4. I think that he's more of a 3. And you're not off. You're not off track with that. I mean, he's 6'6". You know, he's not really your.
And it was basically size based. But based on his height. You know what I'm saying? Like ideally. But the thing is, Can you imagine Tobias Harris is one of your bench players coming in and doing what he's doing?
That would be amazing.
That's why you need that starting four.
Because usually when the second unit isn't playing well, Tobias is who they bring in to try to bring that spark. They pull Fontecchio and they bring Tobias in to be that option. But you don't want him being he is what he is. I sometimes I kind of see why Philly got rid of him because he just didn't. Sometimes he just disappears. He's just not able to be an impact on the floor. But I appreciate you appreciate what he brings to the table.
I had a segment I did audio only on Fontecchio. I gave him his flowers for having 23 points the other night. Taking my flowers back. Taking them
back. Damn, that's crazy. Can you do that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I'm taking my. You know what? No. I changed my mind. No. Because I'm starting to notice with him too. He's playing some decent defense out there.
Because he had, what was it, a block? He definitely hustles.
He hustles. He definitely hustles. Fontecchio, if he could play a little bit better, I'd be a lot more comfortable. You don't have to have 23 a game. You know what I'm saying? But if he can, it's the open shots that he's missing that's my concern. But the effort is there. And I guarantee you, Foster, he's being blessed with minutes during game time, no matter what he does, because I guarantee you, in practice, he's out there working.
He's gotta be. And he's a likable character. I think that when Fontecchio is knocking down threes, it does a lot for the team.
And this Oscar Thompson kid, this guy, I like him. I don't need 20 points from him. I need him to do what he's doing. He's all over the court. He's finishing at the rim. He's getting steals. He's getting rebounds. He's dishing off in the paint. This core that the Pistons have. Cade, Duren, Thompson. I like it. I definitely like it. We got a comment. I haven't been paying attention. Troy, what is that regard? I don't know how long he's got to be.
He's got to be snapping in practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's got to be what he's talking about.
He has to be earning those minutes in practice because he gets to the game and you wonder why is he out there.
I don't think I see the value in it. He's just one of those guys that is so limited outside of shooting that if the shooting, which can be very a 3-point shooter is a very volatile position to be. You're going to have games where there's games where Malik Beasley, the shot's going in. But when it's not,
Fontecchio missed the layup last night. I forgot. Yeah. He went to the rack. He missed the layup. Stewart got the rebound and got fouled on the putback, but still.
He's kind of athletic. I've seen him dunk more times in the last week than I've seen him do my entire life actually watching him. Like he's semi-athletic. He just doesn't have he's not twitchy. He doesn't have the burst. That's for sure. When he puts that ball on the court, when he puts that ball on the ground, it's usually not for the betterment of the team.
Yeah, it's well, I'm not done with Fontecchio. I'll have no.
Oh, I thought you had more that you were going more lashings to give.
I'm going to do another I'm going to do another segment, and you'll be able to catch that audio only on all the podcast aggregators. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you'll be able to find that. Just type in Post Game Podcast FFSN in the search, and make sure you're following us, and make sure the alert button is on to download the episodes. I'm going to do another Fontecchio. I'm going to give it a couple more games, and he's going to be my focus. He's going to be my focus. I'm going to work on it because I think this guy, I was too ecstatic about when they acquired him last year. I had higher hopes for him this year. So, one last thing before I let you put a bow on this, Foster. We was on the Central Division show, right? That's the show that we do every Monday. That's a show that we're hosting Monday when we have our Cleveland Cavaliers and Chicago Bulls representative there. Sometimes an Indiana Pacer person is there, but at least the Cleveland and Chicago representatives are there with us, and we sit down and we discuss basketball within our respective teams within the division. There was a question asked, who is your Robin? Most teams have a Batman. The good teams have a Robin as well. And we couldn't, Foster's thing was Beasley, but I kind of like, that's the most logical answer. But is that something you want your Robin to be your first player off the bench? I think you need a starter to be your Robin, and your Beasley would be someone like Batgirl.
Damn, that's fun. You got me up here.
I mean,
family show, but that's crazy.
I mean, not as I'm just saying the role, like the extra person to help, right? 6-man is a 6-man, right? Your 6-man is the person that comes off the bench. You can rely on him, and you can also rely on that person to start when one of your starters is down. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be relying on him to be your Robin. But that's the position that we're in right now. Beasley is our Robin. Now, Troy says Ivy is our Robin. That was the plan.
Yeah.
That's been the plan for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Robin. We saw Robin with his cape on earlier in the season, though. We did see it. And we saw how there was a game versus the Lakers where Robin was in the building. There was a game where he made that last second shot. Robin was in the building, right? Unfortunately, we have to wait until next year to see how that pans along, because we got our Batman. We just need to make sure that we have our Robin. Now, it would be really, really nice if Ivy next year, I'm talking about next season, if Ivy can be your Robin, and Duren can be arguably your Robin, or fighting to be that Robin. Those three on the court doing good things can spell disaster for a lot of teams going forward. We are enjoying this season. We had 39 wins right now, 14 last season. We make the playoffs at least. If we don't win another game, we're locked into a playoff position as far as a play-on. We clinched a play-in position last week. We still got 20 games left, I believe, right? What's
20? No, that's less than
what's the record? 39 and what? 32?
Yeah, 39 and 32.
So we got 21 games left.
Is that?
No.
60,
no, not 21.
70. How many games?
11 games left.
Yeah. It's getting down to the wire.
I'm sorry. And I don't foresee the Pistons losing 11 games.
No.
I'm just saying, like, if we don't win another game, we're in the play-in.
Right. Yeah.
So I think this is a season where we take the step forward to be put teams on notice. And I think next season is where we really try to make some noise. Where we compete with the Clevelands and the Bostons, you know what I'm saying? And the Milwaukees and Pacers. I think we're mentioned in those lights. We're not looked as underdogs as much when we play those teams going into next season. That's what I think. So, unless you have anything to debunk on that, Foster, I'll let you put a bow on this and we can get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, we still got some pretty important games left to play. I think that, like I said previously, I follow the Knicks, and I keep up with the pulse of their fan base, and I really feel like if they're being realistic, given their current situation and our current situation, I think they really think that I think they deep down have to think that we have an opportunity to possibly compete with them in that first round, especially if Jalen Brunson isn't 100% going into that series. I think the Pistons are the favorite. We have our own issues that we need to clean up at home before we get to that point. But all things considered, we played the Knicks pretty well the last few games. So, minus that first game. But yeah, we have the cat. We got a couple games coming up that I hate to say, because I've said this before, we should beat these teams, but we have the Pelicans at home tomorrow. We beat them by 46 in New Orleans. We have to have that game tomorrow against the Pelicans. We have the Spurs on Tuesday. Another game. No Fox, no Wemby. I don't care. We need to win that game. We have the Cavs in Detroit. So, for what it's worth, the LCA needs to be packed. It's on a Friday. LCA should be packed that game. We got the Timberwolves and Thunder. That's going to be tough. That's the Thunder in OKC. But the Raptors game, you got to beat the Raptors. But beyond that, it gets tough. Grizzlies in Detroit, that's going to be tough. The Kings, I see the Kings playing us pretty tough. We have one more game against New York in Detroit. That is a major game.
Yeah.
That is a major game. Jalen Brunson will likely be back for that game. That's April 10th. So that's a couple weeks from now. But another game that LCA should be packed out for. Friday, or no, I don't know what day April 10th is. What day is April 10th?
Hold on. April 10th is on a Thursday.
Okay. So so April 10th is on a Thursday, and then we have the Bucks the next day at home on a Friday night. So LCA should be booming for the last couple weeks of the season. I'm thinking the Tigers. It'll be the beginning of the Tigers season. I'm not sure when our home opener is. It's probably around that time, but yeah, we got some. I mean, that game against the Knicks, April 10th, very well could be to decide the number that could. There could be some movement amongst that. Certainly going to be some movement. It's certainly going to have some bearing on things. Those last two games against Milwaukee.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's honestly too soon to say what our trajectory is. Yes, more than likely we are a year away from making serious contention. But how many games are the Cavs going to lose down the stretch? If you don't, I'm not saying you specifically, but if you don't think that, crawling into the playoffs, it will affect the momentum of how you start the playoffs.
Mm.
Like,
You don't
you're
want to
wrong.
you don't want to back into the playoffs.
No, you don't. You don't. And that's why when they were winning all those games early on, but losing to Boston and now losing now, all that 20 game winning streak, 15 game winning streak means nothing.
It's forgotten about right now if you're a Cleveland fan.
Absolutely. You're probably panicking a little
You
bit,
were like, what is going on with this team?
because
No
I
matter
don't, because me
how good you've
personally,
done,
right.
good you've done this week, you're wondering what's going on with my team. And that's not good.
And I haven't watched them, so I can't really put a finger. I know Garland missed a game or something like that.
Mhm.
I think Mitchell has missed a game
They've
around this
got some
time too.
players.
But there's got to be there's more of an underlying thing than Garland missing a game, because that team is pretty deep. Ty Jerome is a player that would be a starter on most teams, and he comes off the bench, so you don't lose that much when Garland's out. And they got DeAndre Hunter, and they got the two twin towers down low. They got a pretty deep roster. So Darius Garland missing the game, Donovan Mitchell missing the game, ain't enough for me to.
You're deep enough to beat Sacramento. You're deep enough to beat some of these teams you're losing to sitting down your starter.
Team always played a little better than what they're than the way this is the same team from last year. Let's not.
Have they lost every game since Monday?
They're 0-4. So how many games can you play since Monday? They lost 4 in a row, right?
Yeah.
Let's pull up. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, before we get out of here, I need to know, because we have a Central Division show.
Oh yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a humbling show. But let's see here. So they play the Jazz tomorrow. Don't sleep on the Jazz.
They're not going to lose to the Jazz tomorrow after losing 4 straight.
Teams have lost to the Jazz, and it's in Utah. So I don't know. They don't have dates on these. Okay, so Sunday they played the Magic. So that was the beginning. Tate had to talk about, we lost on Sunday to the Magic. So they played that Tuesday. They played the Clippers, lost by 13. They lost by 4 to the Kings, and then they lost to the Suns yesterday by 11.
Mm-hmm.
So the Suns are obviously a talented team. They're not a playoff team, but they're a talented team. The Kings was the eye popper, because
what are you doing losing to the Kings?
Well, what are you doing losing to the Kings when Sabonis and Levine don't play? Is more than anything is what's crazy to me. But
that's
because the Kings they are fighting for their playoff lives, but they're a very talented team. DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, Malik Monk. They have a good team, or they have talent. They're just trying to. Put
you gotta win those games when Sabonis is not playing.
Yeah, especially if Mobley and Allen, they should have worked them out inside without Sabonis.
Yeah, you would think.
So, it's the once again, Boston is just quietly holding it down. The Cavs are still up on them, but
they have a crazy lead against them, right?
Maybe not anymore. 5 games. So yeah,
that's not a crazy lead.
Just goes to with only 15 games left. We said 11. You said 11 games, right?
Something like that. I know for us, we have 11.
So it would take a lot for them to take them over, unless the Cavs just continue.
Well, I'm not saying as far.
It was a crazy lead at one point. Were.
That's my point. My thing is, even if they're only up 5, and Boston may not pass them, but they could very easily be only 2 or 3 games behind them. And for Boston, for Cleveland to have the season they have and only, win the East by 2 or 3 games, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because they were manhandling everybody. as far as the record. They don't have I think don't OKC have the best record in basketball right now?
I believe so.
So
The Cavs are 56-14, and they are 58-12. So yeah, two games better.
So that's still a very good record, 56-14. Golly.
Oh man, that's crazy. I can't even imagine.
But just imagine they lost 4 games in a row. They was 56-10. That was crazy. Well, that about wrap it up for today's show. I want to thank everybody that paid attention and chimed in. Troy, we appreciate you. I think you'll see us before next Saturday, but we'll do Pistons Weekly every Saturday morning. You'll see us. You might in between times we'll chime in here and there and do a couple of lives after a couple of games. Nothing written in stone. Well, we both have crazy schedules, so Saturday is cemented for a Pistons Weekly show. But you can go check out the old episodes on Bleachers to Speakers YouTube channel. You can catch any show that we've done. You can also check us out on all the podcast, podcast aggregators. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to our old shows. All you have to do is find us there. Foster, we had a great show. I just want to remind everyone once again to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and go watch some of the stuff. Keep us in the algorithm. All you have to do is press like. All you have to do is watch it, share it. These are buttons to push. Y'all can do that for us. Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube.